The Miami Dolphins had an up and down 2021 regular season, and that's putting it mildly. They opened up with a win in New England of all places against a Bill Belichick coach team nonetheless, then proceeded to drop the next 7 games, including getting swept by the Buffalo Bills, in which cumulatively they were outscored in those 2 games 61-11. However, they fought back in a big way, and instead of rolling over when they were 1-7, they fought and clawed their way back to a winning record and narrowly missed the playoffs with a 9-8 finish. And they made some pretty big moves this offseason, like trading for former Chiefs receiver Tyreek Hill, who is nothing short of electric with the football in his hands, and signing tackle Teron Armstead in free agency, who will help an offensive line that was horrific in 2021. The Dolphins are certainly a team to pay attention to this year, and we will break everything down in today's video. But before we do, I wanted to say I am ecstatic football is back, and what better way to kick off football being back than with this great deal from DraftKings. New customers, all you have to do is bet $5 and you'll instantly receive $200 in free bets using promo code ANALYSIS. The link will be in the description, and personally I'm thinking about placing $5 on this parlay with Washington beating Jacksonville and New Orleans beating Atlanta. Football is back, guys, and $5 to receive $200 using code ANALYSIS is a great way to start the new NFL season. Again, a big thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video, and now we break down the 2022 Miami Dolphins. Miami is in a very interesting spot as a franchise. Is Tua the guy, or is he not the guy? How will they fare against Buffalo, the team they are desperately trying to beat and a team that embarrassed them last year? And as crazy as this sounds, can Tua stay healthy for a full season? When Tua was going through the 2020 NFL draft process, this was a concern at the time, and it has followed him over into the NFL. He missed some time last year to breaking a few ribs in their Week 2 game against the Bills. It also certainly did not help Tua's case on whether he is or is not a franchise quarterback last year by not only missing time, but by having a truly abysmal offensive line. And with the Dolphins and their several wins to end the 2021 season, I want to glance at that run they had, which started technically with a win over the Texans, but really when they manhandled the hell out of the Ravens on Thursday night. That was truly a dominant performance, and they had Lamar and company befuddled. And while they did go on the run, how many of these games down the stretch should they have truly lost? The Jets' first game at least was against Joe Flacco and a 2-7 team at the time. The Panthers are a mess. The Giants game was played against Mike Glennon, and you get the point. Although I will also add the Saints game was against Ian Book. So how many of these games should the Dolphins have lost during this stretch? And to me, the answer is none, as this stretch between the Jets the first time and the Saints were teams with top 6 overall draft picks, and the Saints game itself was against a practice squad caliber quarterback. Again, I can't emphasize how much they dominated the Ravens when they played, but to me it's not surprising they got beat by Tennessee late in the season when they did. Now, to be clear, I wasn't expecting a 31-point blowout by any means, but I don't think it should have come as a surprise they lost that game. And not to completely dog Miami, but I do congratulate them on sweeping the Patriots last year. I genuinely mean that. I brought all of these games up to discuss why I'm not the highest on Miami this year. Not only that, but they lost to the Jags and they lost to Atlanta in back-to-back weeks at a point in 2021 as well. And if you are wondering, Tua started and played both of those games. While they did improve from last year to this year, I do believe their first 4 games to the season this year, which are home against New England, at Baltimore, home against Buffalo, and at Cincinnati, are going to be very, very telling regarding the Dolphins' 2022 season. And just because I have a few questions regarding the Dolphins does not mean they're going 4-13 and missing the playoffs. But if they have a bad start to the season, the back half of their schedule isn't anywhere close to as kind to them this year as it was in 2021. They have a Week 11 bye, and after they play 4 playoff teams out of their final 7 games from last year, with one of the 3 teams that didn't make the playoffs being the Los Angeles Chargers. And for teams that internally Miami thinks they are better than, like this stretch of the Lions, Bears, and Browns, especially without Deshaun Watson, in weeks 8 through 10, and you can probably lump the Steelers in week 7 in there as well, they can't afford to drop any of these games. So for the Dolphins in 2022, there are a ton of must-win games, and I mean a ton. Are they going to beat Buffalo? Who knows? And I realize I've been very supportive of the Bills in this video, but they are not unbeatable, and any given Sunday certainly applies. But generally speaking, they are perceived to be a better team than the Dolphins, and teams circle their calendar when they play Buffalo and not Miami, meaning that is a game they very much look forward to. So for these games Miami has, like at the Jets, at the Bears, and home against the Texans, basically games we think they're going to win before the season starts, they can't drop any of those games if they want to make the playoffs this year. The AFC is far too competitive. But for the Dolphins' 2022 passing game and quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, he doesn't have to be Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, and quite frankly, he isn't either one of these guys. But that's fine. However, he does need to be better this year in the intermediate part of the field, which is classified as 10 to 19 yards from the line of scrimmage. Tua wasn't anywhere close to as accurate as he needs to be in 2021 for the Dolphins to make major strides this year. In 2021, he finished 31st out of 37 eligible quarterbacks in completion percentage from this depth, as he completed just 51% of his passes, going 50 for 98 for 765 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And naturally, because this depth is more downfield than short throws or even behind the line of scrimmage, completion percentages for all quarterbacks, not just Tua, are going to be a little less than average. But players like Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Teddy Bridgewater, and Jimmy Garoppolo all finished with a better completion percentage of more than 10% higher than Tua did in this part of the field last year. Tua also finished 9th in turnover-worthy play percentage in this area of the field, which is exactly what it sounds like. If a quarterback throws a ball directly to a defensive back that drops it, it is considered a turnover-worthy play. Tua wasn't bad in other areas of the field like he was here, and the good news for Tua is this can be cleaned up fairly easy. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are guys that can take touch passes, slants, screens, or any of these plays a long way if the play is designed properly. The last thing we will say regarding the Dolphins offense this year is they brought in head coach Mike McDaniel, who came up through the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree and has the outside zone system. What I can't wait for the Dolphins this year is to see how much success or even lack of they have initially. And what I mean by that is not a shot at Tua or Tyreek or even Mike McDaniel or anybody, as much as it is to acknowledge it generally takes a year or two for the system to really play out and see the full results. The 49ers went to at least the NFC Championship game in years 3 and 5 under Kyle Shanahan, while finishing the first 2 years, aka 2017 and 2018, with a combined record of 10 and 22. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than just buying into the system, but that is something to pay attention to, because for the sake of Tua's career and before Tyreek turns 30 years old, the Dolphins don't have time to wait around. But for the Dolphins defense, this is a unit I absolutely love, and for various reasons. They have a budding star of a safety in Javon Holland, and to me, there is truly no deficiency in Holland's game. He is a complete player who should be there for not just 2 or 3 years, but for close to a decade. He is the real deal. And the same applies with a 2021 first-round pick they had, and that's pass rusher Jalen Phillips. With how much attention has been given to the Miami Dolphins offense entering the season, I don't think there's been anywhere close to as much attention as there should be regarding their defense. Phillips is a budding star and had 8.5 sacks and 16 quarterback hits in year 1, and perhaps the most interesting part regarding Phillips is he only played more than 80% of the team's defensive snaps in a game twice. He played 50 snaps or more in a game just 3 times, and was still not effective when used, but a damn good player. And when the Dolphins are playing all of these teams with good or great quarterbacks, such as the Bills, Bengals, Ravens, Chargers, among many others, I do think Phillips is a sleeper to lead the NFL in sacks. Not to say he will, of course, but he's going to get a lot of opportunities, and quite frankly, it's going to depend on how many snaps he plays in 2022. If he plays more than 70% of the snaps routinely, not just here or there, I do think he will have 15 sacks. But the defense isn't just limited to 2 young studs in Javon Holland and Jalen Phillips. I think it is worth noting they added Melvin Ingram this offseason, even though he's had a rough past year or two. But pairing him with Christian Wilkins and of course the aforementioned Phillips is solid for Miami. Jerome Baker is as good as advertised and is a very big piece in this Dolphins defense. He has 2 seasons in his career with over 110 tackles and is coming off of a season in 2021 in which he had 92 tackles along with 5.5 sacks. Byron Jones, the corner, is out the first 4 games with what is listed as ankle/Achilles surgery, and that is definitely something to keep an eye on their second corner, and that is now Nick Needham, the first of course being Xavier Howard, who has 15 interceptions over the past 2 years. How the Dolphins secondary handles the stress early without Byron Jones, and even when he comes back, is definitely something to keep note of because of how he plays coming off of a lower body injury. Will he have the same explosiveness that he has been known for throughout his entire career? I do think there are more question marks on offense than defense, though, for the 2022 Dolphins, and at the end of the day, my final prediction is I think this team will narrowly miss the playoffs with a record similar to last year, but I do think there is going to be a lot of positive strides in 2022. I also want to add, it would not surprise me in the slightest if this team makes the playoffs, but in the scenario they do, I don't think they go very far, because quite frankly, I don't think they're going to win the AFC East. Not every team can win the Super Bowl, and while I like what Miami has going on, I worry about how they're going to play on the road when it matters most. And that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, now is the time I ask you to please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would be very much appreciated and help tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. I cannot thank you guys enough for the support, and until next time, as always, please be safe and have a great rest of your day. Love you guys.